In the heart of Alexandria, a tragedy of epic proportions was reaching its devastating climax. The air, thick with the scent of defeat and despair, carried a false rumor that shattered the world of one of history's most formidable men. Mark Antony, the Roman general, the titan of the triumvirate, was told that his queen, his love, Cleopatra, was dead. Consumed by a grief so profound it eclipsed the loss of his empire, he made a fatal decision. Believing his world had ended, he fell upon his own sword, a final act of a desperate Roman heart. But the blow was not instantly fatal. Antony lay mortally wounded, his life ebbing away with each agonizing breath. It was in this state of ruin and torment that the truth finally reached him. Cleopatra was alive. She had barricaded herself in her mausoleum, a grand tomb built to be her final resting place, a fortress against the encroaching forces of Octavian. Upon hearing that Antony was dying, a surge of desperate energy coursed through her. This was not the time for tears or surrender. This was the moment for one last, monumental act of love and defiance. Her monument, her tomb, became a sanctuary, and she refused to open its doors, fearing capture or deception by Octavian's men. Instead, with the help of her loyal attendants, she orchestrated a harrowing rescue from the top of the mausoleum. Imagine the scene. Ropes and heavy chains were lowered from a high window of the tomb. Down below, Antony, bleeding and barely conscious, was secured to this makeshift lift. The effort was immense, a testament to the sheer will of a queen determined to hold her love one last time. Picture Cleopatra, the ruler of Egypt, her royal hands raw and straining, pulling with every ounce of her strength. She was not just a queen in that moment, she was a woman fighting against fate itself. Her face etched with a mixture of terror, love, and fierce determination. The soldiers and attendants below could only watch in stunned silence as their dying general was slowly, painfully, hoisted up the stone walls of the monument. It was a spectacle of raw, primal emotion, a love so powerful it literally lifted a dying man from the jaws of death, if only for a few final moments. Finally, he was through the window, pulled into the dim, incense-filled interior of the tomb. He was laid upon a couch, his blood staining the fine linens. Cleopatra, her composure finally breaking, threw herself upon him. She tore at her clothes, beat her breast, and wiped his blood from her own face, her cries echoing through the stone chamber. Her grief was a storm, wild and unrestrained. Yet, amidst this tempest of sorrow, Antony found a flicker of his old strength. He called for wine, a final taste of life, a final toast with the woman for whom he had gambled everything and lost. With what little breath he had left, he tried to comfort her. He spoke not of his own pain, but of hers. He urged her to make her peace with Octavian to secure her own safety, but to trust only one of his men, Proculius. He reminisced about his own life, reminding her of the glory they had shared. He told her not to pity him for this disastrous end, but to remember the power and honor he had once held. He had been the most famous and powerful man in the world, and now he was dying. A Roman defeated by a Roman, but in the arms of his queen. His words were a final gift, an attempt to fortify her spirit for the trials he knew she would face. He looked into her eyes, the same eyes that had captivated him years ago, eyes that had launched a love affair that shook the foundations of Rome. In that gaze, empires, battles, and political schemes all melted away. All that remained was the profound, all-consuming love that had defined their lives. He was no longer just a general, and she no longer just a queen. They were Antony and Cleopatra, two souls intertwined, facing the end together. He reached for her, his touch a faint whisper of the passion they once shared. And then, as he lay in her embrace, surrounded by the scent of myrrh and her tears, Mark Antony took his final breath. His death was the closing of a chapter, the fall of a hero from an almost mythical age. For Cleopatra, it was the beginning of the end. The loss of Antony was not just the loss of a lover, it was the loss of her staunchest ally, her partner in power, and the father of her children. The world she had built with him had crumbled, and now he was gone. Left alone in her stone fortress with the body of her beloved, she had to face the cold, calculating victor, Octavian. But in those final, sacred moments holding Antony, she had found a strange and terrible peace. Their love had transcended defeat, transcended empire. It was a force of nature that not even the might of Rome could extinguish. The death of Antony was not just a political event, it was the climax of one of the greatest love stories ever told. It was a testament to a bond so powerful that it chose a shared tragedy over a separate, hollow victory. As he died in her arms, their story was sealed, not in the annals of Roman triumph, but in the eternal embrace of a love that defied the world. His end was tragic, yes, but it was also profoundly heroic. He died as he had lived, for passion, for glory, and for the love of his Egyptian queen. And in that tomb, their legend was born, a story that would echo through millennia, a timeless reminder of a love for which an empire was a worthy price to pay. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you were moved by the epic story of Antony and Cleopatra, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into history's most dramatic moments. See you next time.